Just before we start, Gus and Gawny, I know we're all eagerly waiting for the special guest that we've got lined up, as we can all see right there next to Gus and Gawny, says Hamish Blake. Keep cups are in, Angus.
They are, Max, and I've got a link for people, listeners, to enter into. I think we're doing like a little raffle to see who gets them or a draw. We'll give some away, but for those who want to enter the raffle, the link is melbournefc.com.au/positive lingers. That's all lowercase, and if you enter there, you'll go in the running to win one of these glorious lingers chalices.
So I've got number 3, Angus has got number 2, Gibbo's got number 42, and that's all that's locked out at the moment. So get in and see if you get a number.
Time back on. That's rough craft, big boy.
Welcome to Gus and Gawny via Zoom. We've come back to Zoom. It's been, to be fair, I thought when you were in your bed doing the podcast via Zoom last time, that would have been our last Zoom, Gus, but we're back.
Hey, I think that was peak. You want to talk about peak podcast? It was me hopping with 1 foot up in the air. I can't even remember. I was on Endone back then, so I've forgotten all that. But you're right. We are back after a big week. It's fair to say, Max. Should we? Where do we want to start? There's so many places. Last week we started with Benny Gibson. Are we going to throw to him, get him involved early, or
did we interviewed the friend of the podcast, Jack Watts, actually when we were on Zoom? Fun fact.
There you go. It's a great memory.
For those that are vodcasting, which we've learned is a thing, you can clearly see the positive lingers tops. Been worn by 2 of the 3 people currently on Zoom.
I gave mine to Ryan Sheldon. That was a good move for me.
Yeah, that was a good move. Well done. And then I've also got the Freeze MND beanie. For those that haven't got it, you can go to Coles and Bunnings. You can pretty much get them anywhere, but Coles and Bunnings are the main 2. And make sure if you're in Sydney that you're wearing one of these to the game. Make sure you come to the game as well. Where are we going? So we're going to start with Gibbo. It's hot up. News. News is just everywhere at the moment, and you'd want to hope our newsman's got a strong list, Gus.
A lot of speculation floating around as well, I bet. Just as much as there is news, there is also speculation. So, Gibbo, what do you got for us on the news front at the moment?
I don't want to give you any COVID-related speculation because there is too much speculation in that category, and I'm not about that. The news of the day, of course, is outside the 4 walls of our club, but it is that Nathan Buckley is going to coach his last game this weekend, and that is relevant to the Melbourne podcast because we are playing Collingwood. So,
how's the news from Gibbo? We're playing Collingwood next week.
Massive, but I'm not a big one on like milestone games and lifting for those. Do you think that team would lift for a last game as a coach?
I must say, I do NRL tipping with about 20 people from the club. We're all in a WhatsApp. I'm actually quite good. Come second last year, not going as well this year. Every single time an NRL coach is sacked, which is regularly in the NRL, that team wins. So I hope we. I don't know why. I don't know why. But he hasn't been sacked. He stood down, so it's a little bit different.
He's still coaching. Like, it's not like, Rob Harvey's not going to be in rustling the troops saying, come on, boys, it's my first game. Like, I think,
and we infamously put on a great performance for Paul Roozle's last game. In Geelong and Geelong, we lost by 100. So
I remember that day. That was so depressing in the rooms after the game.
Roozle didn't even give us a post-match. We walked out.
It was a bit like that. I'm not sure what look, who knows what's going to happen. What I am counting on, though, is Melbourne to sort of, through everything, we've had a heap of inconsistency in terms of schedule, training sessions, travel over the last couple of weeks, but I've loved how our group's been really consistent when it's come to, putting a game out on the park. So I'm sure that as a group, we'll, no matter what happens, no matter what the emotions are, we'll be rock solid.
Yeah.
Just on senior coaches, it is Simon Goodwin's 100th game as coach this weekend.
Oh, I was wondering where you're going with that.
99 with Melbourne. One of them was with Essendon in that first one, so it's still a milestone. But
what's his win-loss? You got a win-loss percentage for us, or
I do. 53 wins, 45 losses at Melbourne. He also lost his one at Essendon. So
53, 45. Oh yeah, that makes sense. That'll adds up.
Ledger. So maybe we'll celebrate his 100th game for Melbourne milestone next week. The one thing I thought was interesting, coming off a 10-day break as opposed to a 6 and a 7 the last few weeks, in terms, how important is preparation? Like, does it impact your body or anything in an actual game?
For me, preparation's completely gone out the window in terms of trying to be regular and doing the same thing every week ever since we flew to Cairns to play that Sydney game, which Angus would know well because it was his last game of the year last year. But we drove from Maroochydore to Brisbane at 6 a.m. We waited at Brisbane for another team. I forget which team we travelled up with. It was a Freo. So we waited for them at the airport. We got on the plane to go from Brisbane to Cairns. We got stuck on the tarmac in Cairns, and we got to the ground about an hour and 10 before and played in 30 degrees and gale wind down one end. And we were disappointed as well. But to show that preparation's come a long way. I used to be a guy who used to be so structured. Like Jess had to leave the house 2 days before, almost. That's how structured I was, to a point where I literally, the game can get moved an hour before to a different ground in a different city, and I feel like I could adjust now. So I always thank the AFL and COVID. Well done, COVID, for what you brought last year, because we've been able to change things up.
Look, I'm going to stop short of thanking a worldwide pandemic for increasing my resilience. But yeah, I agree with Max. My basically pre-game stuff revolves around my meal the night before, and every hotel, everywhere we stay has spaghetti of some form and bolognese of another form. So I'm sweet with that. But yeah, I mean, 10 days and 6 days, I actually think that I don't mind on 6-day breaks. I hate the waiting. Like, we've got a heap of time to fill in. I've got exams this week, which is actually pretty good in terms of filling that time, but more often than not, on a 10-day break, there's not really a heap to do. So I like the shorter breaks, more games, more quicker. It's anyway, but I don't think it's not like we perform worse because we don't get less break, if that's what you mean.
I thank COVID. You remember you tried to get less money for MND last week.
Yes, I did, and there's no way around that. As far as from where I am, what I take solace in the fact is that we, having sold these Positive Lingers shirts and donating every single cent of profit made from these shirts goes to MND. So whilst I did suggest that we sell them for less, and therefore in a roundabout way said we should donate less, I feel like that's balanced out by all the good we've done, Max.
Yep.
Saved yourself well there, Gus. Coming off last week's game, so Thomas Barrow got a $2,000 fine. Dane Zorko got a week for one of the more interesting interactions with Tom McDonald. Did you see that? And he ended up
that was really weird.
Helping him back up, smiling, tap on the bum. Any idea what actually went on there?
No idea. I just saw. I know Zorko got him with like a high elbow or something, and it seems to me like Tom McDonald seems like the sort of bloke who wouldn't particularly enjoy that. And then I saw him put his hand out, but also Tom McDonald's pretty weird, so he could have done it. I guess nothing's really out of the realms of possibility. What did Sparrow get fined for?
He clipped Rich. I actually thought he was going to get.
Really? I didn't see that.
He got a $2,000 fine, so all good to play. I do have some news, actually. So we've got the 2 drafts.
For 6 minutes in.
First news ever. So we got, obviously, Kai and Daniel last week in the draft. So their numbers are locked in. I don't even know if they know this yet, but Kai, if you're listening, you're number 40, taking over from Corey Wagner. And Turner is number 42, taking over from Josh Wagner. So
wow,
filling some big shoes there.
Pat McKenna and Jake Spencer, great, two great numbers. Although Pence went to 33 at one point. I don't know.
Young Disco's moved in with another piece of news for you that you obviously, Benny, haven't seen fit to dig up. Dan Turner, Disco Turner is his nickname, and he's moving in with Luke Jackson and Trent Rivers at my parents' house for the rest of the season. So if you
got another one.
You would have got that if you're any good at your job, but yeah, another one. So that shows how far gone my parents' relationship is, that Deborah needs another bloke in the house to keep some distance between them.
Yeah, interviewed him about that yesterday, but that's all right. AFLW news, there's a little bit going on.
Here you go. I wonder what this is going to be.
So,
what's the top of the news for you AFLW stuff?
It's been trade week, you may have seen, Gus. So 2 big recruits, Taylor Harris.
Of course you went with Taylor Harris first, didn't you?
One, and Purcell, who's a young gun from Geelong. So big going on there. Tegan Cunningham and Meg Downey have retired. So exciting times, a few new faces coming in. The international world of sport, we've got to talk about quickly, Gawny. You're a big cricket man. What were your thoughts on Devon Conway last week?
Yeah, I was going to give my regular niche sport update at some point during this podcast. Cricket was on. Wow, back at Lords, and it rained out on day 3, which cost New Zealand a win. Devon Conway, for Angus, you wouldn't know him. He's 29. I don't like saying this, but he was born in South Africa, came over to New Zealand, and he's made a 200 on debut. He looks very similar to Amartya Labuschagne without the carry-on.
Praise.
Yeah, exciting times ahead for Devon. Kane Williamson not making runs, which I'm a little bit nervous about. All ready for the Test final, which is the first time ever. Due to tell you, just a quick update.
Yep.
That's over. The Criterium de Door thing is on in France. That just finished, and Australian Richie Port took out the chocolates.
Well, I was going to ask you about that. That's my favourite race in the Euro Tour. So thanks for giving me that update.
It's actually on the UCI the World Tour.
Yeah, of course. That's what I meant to say. Naturally, I get my tours mixed up. There's so many that I follow. But who's in the World Cup final? Cricket World Cup finals? New Zealand and who?
New Zealand and India played in England.
Wow, it's going to be interesting. Who wins?
Well, I think New Zealand, just purely based on the fact that I go for them, but also going to swing a bit.
Conditions will suit.
Yeah, conditions will suit the Kiwis. They're playing some good cricket.
Okay. All right. That's our prediction for this week. Kiwis win.
Yeah.
The French Open's also on over in France, obviously in France. NBA is going well, so a good time for the world of sport. At least some watching lockdown.
Roland Garros is how we say the French Open. Again, another one of the niche sports I like, and Rafa and Novak
Tennis isn't a niche sport. What are you talking about?
I interviewed Tom Couch, and it almost got put in as an Academy Award interview.
I actually saw Danielle play. I watched her play Serena Williams.
Yes, we were watching that together.
Yeah, I think we watched that together for a little bit, and we might have even had this same conversation. Like, how funny is this? Anyway,
Yes.
I think she got beaten.
Yeah, she did. Anything else, Ben?
No, that's all from me.
Well, you can hang around. We've got a guest coming up in a little bit. Most people can probably see who it is already.
Sure, everyone can.
We haven't had too many two-timers. Nathan Jones is a two-timer.
Is that
You
it?
got another one?
It's Cade Chandler, the news hound. Does he count, or is he just a news terrier?
Yeah, he's just the lead news broadcaster for this podcast.
Of course, he's been on twice. But no, we've got Hamish Blake coming back on.
Hamish is coming back on. So we're going to get to him. What we will get to at some point as well is on his estate trips, he get a little bit bored at times.
Yep.
There is sort of 2 days there and only really one meeting, and then the game sort of bookended at the end. And we got talking on my table at dinner. I'm not sure if you're on my table, Angus, but we got talking top 10 comedy movies. There's been a lot of talk about top 10 movies in and around the club, and Shawshank Redemption gets always the mentions and whatnot. And I just thought, let's go to comedy. Let's go to something that we all know well. And Ben, I didn't give you any sort of prep to be able to come up for top 10, but you can chime in whenever you feel like. But I've asked for a top 10 from you, Angus.
Yeah.
And I've produced my own top 10 as well.
How do you want to do this? Because there's Hamish Blake. I heard Ham has one as well.
Hamish has a top 10. I think we can bring it back up with him when he pops in. So we're talking like Adam Sandler, Rob Schneider, Will Ferrell.
So that's I've got my top 10. Then I've got like a subcategory, like serial offender, repeat offenders, people who keep popping up, and you've nailed them all basically.
Yeah, well, Adam Sandler and Rob Schneider are a combo, and then Will Ferrell and Zach Galifianakis, and
I've got Vincent Vaughn, Ben Stiller's in a few. Geez, there's some. I know I love you. Tickle my fancy. I love movies. I love comedy. Obviously, I sort of carry the comedic load on this show, so no surprises there. But yeah, so how do you want to do this? You want to go from top to bottom, or
so have you ranked them?
I've ranked them. And it's been hard. And if you ask me tomorrow, they're probably changing. But right here, right now, I have a piece of paper. I've got in a row 10 movies. So I can. How do you want to do it?
Let me hear your 10 to 5, and I'll give you my 10 to 5.
Okay, coming in at number 10, Old School.
Okay.
So that's the Will Ferrell.
Yeah, I'm well aware.
Number 9 is Dodgeball.
Okay.
and this could be controversial.
Very Vince Vaughn flavour at the moment.
Yeah, Vince Vaughn. He's number 8 is Borat.
Borat, yes, controversial. Don't need to go
Borat
into
8,
that.
obviously controversial. At 7, this might be, you might disagree. Step Brothers at 7.
Yep.
At number 6, we've got Superbad, and then
Okay.
I've got a top 5. I'll leave the top 5.
Okay.
How
Well,
does that sit with you?
yeah. Well, I've got all 5 of them on a big spreadsheet,
Okay.
so they all landed there somewhere. My number 10 is also old school. Was that 10 for you?
Yeah.
Yeah, my 10's old school. I reckon it's
It's
a
crazy how they're the same.
Will Ferrell, Vince Vaughn, quality movie. Number 9 is Road Trip.
Okay.
I had to sort of cut it down between Euro Trip or Road Trip, and I think Road Trip's the better one.
Okay.
Number 8, massive decision, because Will Ferrell's a big actor of mine, but he's got too many, and I think Kicking and Screaming is one of my favourites of him.
Yes, great call. Not in my top 10, but very funny.
That's 8. Number 7 is somewhat controversial, Superbad.
No, mine was 5, and I think probably unders. I think that's the funniest one of the. Obviously, it's in my top 10 list, but I remember watching that, and geez, it's so funny, and it gets better every time I watch it. So not controversial for mine.
And number 6 is no way will this be in anyone's list. Rowan Atkinson, not Mr. Bean, Johnny English.
Johnny English. I watched the second one the other night. I don't have that on my list, but I'm happy with those picks.
You're happy with those picks?
You haven't upset me.
Gibbo?
I've only seen one of each of your 5 so far.
What?
Maybe a bit of watching to do.
What the hell's wrong? Like, why? Which one is it? Starters, and second of all, what the hell's wrong with you?
Was Step Brothers, good movie, and Gawny's was Johnny English.
So you've not seen Superbad, you've not seen Dodgeball, you've not seen Old School, not seen Borat.
No.
Far out, Gibbo. That's not great.
Go with the top 5. I'll keep count.
Okay.
Top
So we'll just go 1-1 here. I'll go 5, you go 5, and vice versa. There's no way I don't think you've got my number 5 in your top 5. And my number 5 is Caddyshack.
It's what? Caddyshack.
Caddyshack.
Okay.
You haven't seen Caddyshack either, Gibbo, I bet.
I've seen Caddyshack. It's on my top 10.
Jeez, it's funny. It just tickles me the right way. Not in that weird Vince Vaughn way that you guys were laughing at earlier.
My number 5, like I said, I only brought in one Will Ferrell. So, I mean, if I was going all Will Ferrell, Step Brothers would have been in there, but it's not in there. My number 5 is Meet the Fockers.
Yeah, great.
It was a decision between Meet the Parents and Meet the Fockers. I just think Focker's old man is too good in Meet the Fockers.
Yeah, okay. I'll take that. Now, I've got a tie for third, not being able to separate.
Okay.
And for those who know, when I say this, you'll understand why. My first third place is Monty Python Life of Brian.
Yes, and what's the other third place?
And it's Monty Python Holy Grail.
I had a feeling that was coming. I knew Monty Python was going to be in there.
So of my whole list, there's no. Have you seen Life of Brian, Benny Gibson?
I haven't seen either of those, no.
Oh.
There's no time, and of my whole list, reflecting on my times watching them, there's no time I've laughed harder in my life than when I was watching, for those who've seen it, the Life of Brian Biggest Dickus skit, where, it's just that there's no way for me to describe to you, but those who are listening who've seen Monty Python Life of Brian and the Biggest Dickus scene is when I first saw that, I was in so much pain that I almost thought I was going to give up and couldn't go on, but here I am now to tell the tale. That's my top 3, equal third, sorry.
I'll quickly whip out 4 and 3 then. 4 was Hangover, probably stiff. It's an all-time movie. And 3, probably stiff as well, American Pie 2.
Yeah, okay. That's the best of the American Pies. I felt like when I was looking at American Pie, the franchise, just how many there were. And
there's only really 3. It's like the Home Alones. Once the actors go out, it's no good.
But see, I reflected poorly on.
You would have seen American Pie, Gibbo.
No, I've seen The Hangover. That big fan.
This bloke needs to.
Okay, what's your 2?
Number 2, I flipped a coin. To be honest, these are the contemporary Picassos of our comedic generation. I think The Hangover at number 2 for mine. In particular, the other 2 suck. Let's be honest. Let's be frank. But the first one, when that came out, was revolutionary and. That's stiff. I almost feel bad for saying it, but it's number 2 for mine.
You did cut a little bit through that, but it was The Hangover, and then you potted The Hangover 2 and Hangover 3.
That's correct.
My 2 Where am I? Oh, mate, Jonah Hill, by far my favourite actor. And more for his serious stuff. I love War Dogs and Moneyball, but 21 Jump Street, oh, yes.
Oh,
yes,
yeah,
please.
okay.
Yes, please.
I absolutely respect it. Yeah, I didn't have 21 Jump Street nor 21 2 Jump Street in
21 too.
top 10. So that's 1 and 2. You've got them back to back, have you? 1 and 2.
No. You said 21 2 Jump Street. That's not
1 and 2. Neither came into calculations for mine. And my number 1 is Wedding Crashers. I think it's the funniest thing that ever happened to the face of the planet Earth. The concept, the acting, like it's just so Christopher Walken, like the most serious, and everything about it is perfect. And if Ben Gibson hasn't seen Wedding Crashers, you should hang up now and get out of here.
I have seen Wedding Crashers. Good movie.
Both of our ones haven't made each other's 10.
There you go. What's your 1?
In-betweeners.
I missed that.
Hands down.
Hands up in the air. That's a In-betweeners goes into mine 100% instantly, but it's too late. I'll put it down in writing. So
my shortlisters are quickly missed for those that are going to kick me down. Step Brothers, Other Guys, Billy Madison, Wedding Crashers, Super Troopers, 40-Year-Old Virgin, The Something About Mary, Bridesmaids, Dodgeball, Juice Bigelow, Due Date, and Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Yep. And look, if we're at the selection table and I can only pick 10, there's going to be some stiff blokes to miss out. But we picked I think we've both picked competitive teams. And I think I'd happily watch just about even on that extended list of yours.
Yeah,
they're all pretty good. What about you, Gibbo? Where do you want to chime in? What's your favourite comedy of all time? Can't believe I'm asking.
I think The Hangover would have been one for mine. I'm a big rom-com man though, so different category. I think Maxwell. I reckon you'd have a top 10 for rom-coms, surely.
Well, The Breakup almost made my shortlist.
Yeah.
Which is a Vince Vaughn classic for you, Angus. Yeah, that's all I've got. Well, let's break. We'll come back with our sponsors. We'll come back.
Ben Gibson, check your reality and have a look in the mirror and see where you're at with your life, and then we'll come back with some sponsors.
Thanks to our co-principal partner and podcast sponsor, Zurich Insurance. For over 100 years, they've been insuring the people and things you truly love. And just like you, they truly love footy and they truly love the D's.
All right, welcome back. Thanks to, obviously, our sponsors, Zurich, Barbie Onions. Who else there, Angus?
Positive Lingers Incorporated. Has to get a mention. So did our friends at Squash, East End Wine Bar.
Yep.
Where do we stop? No affiliated apparel companies. Certainly not any that you might be affiliated with.
Jaguar.
Jaguar.
Yeah, it's truly we love the support that we get from our sponsors. Not one of them are financially committed, but
that's not true. Zurich
are unbelievable. In fact, you got to give a Zurich a plug, don't you?
Yeah, something about how they make the world's best keep cups. Haim, you're our guest. I'm going to throw you early. Do you drink out of a keep cup?
Look, only if it is a Positive Lingers one sponsored by Zurich.
Yeah.
I've got to say, coming from a commercial radio background, like I've never heard so much love given to so many sponsors who have contributed so few dollars.
That's one of our quirks.
Well, Zurich are doing our keep cups, Haim, which you will get one. They're numbered 1 to 100. Do you have a preference?
Is 11 gone?
11's free.
Got to take 11, don't I?
11's yours. Are you happy with that, Angus?
Yeah, it doesn't bother me in the slightest.
I'm not trying to play favourites. It's also my birthday date, so it kind of works well.
Yeah, it works both ways. That's okay. As long as it wasn't 42, I think Benny Gibson's got dibs on that. So, yeah, that's all yours. Congrats.
Can I just ask you how are the Positive Lingers t-shirts going? What was the total? Sold out. They completely sold out.
Mate, I'll if you will allow me, and if this doesn't get cut, this would make for great listening because I said from the beginning we're going to need a lot of shirts. Our first order was 350. They got sold out in 30 minutes. I got a lot of hate mail saying, "Why did you make more shirts?" So then I came back and said, "Let's make more." And again, wasn't listened to. They made another 350, also sold out in about 30 minutes. And now I don't know what's happening because production's out of my hands, unfortunately. We've sold 700, which is, I think, about 10 grand for the MND stuff. So
that's awesome.
Did you get yours? You didn't get in, huh?
I left you guys a message on Facebook and didn't hear back. But that's fine. That's my bad for not, like, I should have been ready for the drop. Like, trying to buy Taylor Swift tickets at Madison Square Garden, like being there at 12:01 a.m., like getting ready, and I messed up. And that's on me.
Well, we can potentially do another batch maybe later on in the year at some point. But the main thing is we raised a lot of money for MND, which is a great cause, obviously with Neil Danaher this week. But
mate, the big freeze in Sydney.
Yeah.
What's the vibe like amongst the players for heading north for the big freeze?
Well, did you think that you were potentially going to be able to watch the game after leaving Melbourne?
I know I'm not going to be popular saying this, but wow, what a great bounce! as someone that moved to Sydney, let's get this out of the way at the top. It's all right. Moved to Sydney this year. Family move, of course. Love Melbourne. Miss Melbourne all the time. And much to my despair, look at the fixture for the year, not one D's game in Sydney on the original fixture. So real bummer, playing the Swans at the G and whatnot. So I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to have to get down. Then as the life starts filling up, like every time I thought I had a weekend, it would get sucked away from me. So then I went long range and went, all right, Queen's birthday. Like that is a must. That is a must get to the G, take my little boy down. I put it in the family calendar so I could see it. I hadn't turned it red, which means my wife can see it and everyone can see it. The day I put it in, this is like a month ago, Zoe, my wife, comes home and goes, hey, I've just been looking at the calendar. We've got no weekends to see my parents, so I've booked us a weekend away for Queen's birthday because Sonny's got some time off school and that's the weekend we're going to the country. And so I went, okay. My bad. I hadn't brought this up. I was going to take Sonny to Melbourne to see Queen's birthday because it's a great time for a 7-year-old. Like night games are out, and she's like, "Well, tough titties. I mean, we've got to go see my parents." So I was like, "Okay, well, that's what can you do?" And then the fixture change happens. Devastating circumstances that led to it, but now suddenly Queen's birthday is at the SCG. We're driving back from the country early. I'm going to be there. We're going to make it to Queen's birthday. It's unbelievable.
And you managed to get to the Friday night top of the ladder clash randomly in Spotless.
And managed to get out to Spotless, which is a first, I've got to be honest.
Ham, I know that you went to the Spotless game because I heard a rumour, you can confirm or deny, you sat in the vicinity of Paul Spargo, Charlie Spargo's old man, correct?
I thought I was sitting next to Spargs' dad, and it turns out I was sitting next to Spargs' dad's loud mate because so I was next to Paul Spargo. I was one away. From Charlie's old man. But every time he would get the ball, and he played a great game. Every time he'd get the ball, this guy sitting next to me who'd had a few already by the start of the game would just yell out, "Go, Charlie Spargo!" and then someone nearby went, "That's that's Spargs' parents." I was like, "Whoa, what a dad!" Like he's like. He's like celebrating every game like it's the first. And so but it turns out Paul was like a lot more reserved, and that made more sense once I met Spargs' actual dad, who was kind of watching with a bit more of a resigned kind of like analytical, proud, silent, quiet, proud dad.
Yeah.
I mean, I loved it both ways, but in the first scenario, it seemed like Charlie had the most vocal, like the novelty of his son playing AFL had not worn off at all. It was just like overwhelming him at every touch.
Now, I chased up a couple of tickets for you for Spotless. And there was some people found that out, that I chased up tickets, and they asked, and I apologise in advance, they asked me what seat you were sitting in. So you could potentially sit next to a couple of important sponsors of the Melbourne Football Club. Did you handle it well being next to, was it Jaguar?
Yeah, here's the thing. So you got me row D. I can't remember the section. I'd say it was section 200, right? Row D. Very appreciative. I said, thanks so much, mate. Like, this is huge. There were 6 of us at the game. Then someone from the Free Club went, oh, would you like to, it's obviously not going to be a sellout. It's Brisbane, Brisbane versus Melbourne at Spotless. Like, there will be seats. They're like, would you like tickets? I said, oh, look, Maxi very generously already sorted it out on whatever red phone he has direct to Ticket Tech. And she went, yeah, right, I've just looked at those seats. They're not really undercover. I'll move you a bit further back up. It might rain. And so I did end up taking the better seats. But I think that maybe the plan was to meet the managing director of Jaguar Land Rover,
Yeah.
who I did and didn't want to meet because, I mean, I'm a big fan of what they do. I myself drive a Defender, and which is not a plug. Again, fitting in the theme of this show, it's not a paid plug because I paid full retail for it like a regular customer.
Yes.
And so my biggest fear was meeting the managing director, who I think I saw out on the ground for the coin toss maybe, was meeting him and becoming really good mates with him and having him say something devastating during the night, like, "Oh, mate, why'd you buy one? Like, I would have just given you one." Like, I was actually fearing meeting him in case it went well, because I'm obviously very happy and fine to pay for a car, but not if I later found out that I could have got one for free.
That would have hurt, no doubt. I have to ask, because it's been playing my mind. Last time we spoke, there was a steroided horse fiasco, which had ruined your investment in the last horse. Just following up, because he said that he power moved you into giving you another percentage of that next horse.
Yeah.
Where have you gone? Has that gone anywhere? Have you got?
I don't think that horse has lifted a foot in anger yet, has it? Like, lifted a hoof in competitive spirit. I think it's still just doing track work.
No, it's 7-year-old and still hasn't got to the races. It's taken a long time, man.
It's going. We got ours firmly set on the Masters games for that horse. Mate, I mean, no hopes there. Tell you one thing I did get into lately. I don't know if you guys have heard about this. So, with like blockchain and cryptos, the big thing was NFTs, like artwork and like NBA cards and stuff. There's a digital horse racing world that started up where you can buy horses as NFTs. It's called Z Racing, ZED, and you essentially this company has created a way to have like unpredictable or like provably fair races by horses that are randomly generated, and you buy one of these horses, but it has its own like bloodline, and you can get lucky, like it can be a good horse, and you race them digitally against other horses in a way that it's something to do with blockchain, and it's like you could get lucky and get a great horse, and then you can breed good horses with other people. And they're already like, some of these good horses are already starting to sell for like tens of thousands of dollars because they're winning races like consistently. And the horse can race like 100 times a day. It's a very humane sport, digital horse racing. The horses don't get tired.
Can we do that instead?
Yeah, well, I was going to say, mate, if this next horse doesn't work, let's cut Aaron, our mate, out, and then let's just get a digital horse together.
Let's get a podcast horse.
Mate, that's me and Andy are doing it over on our podcast. Like, no, go for it. You guys.
Don't worry, mate. It's not original anymore. I don't want to do it anymore. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, we're over there with our Positive Zingers t-shirts on, trying to do great gags.
All right, we had Ryan, your mate Ryan, on a couple of weeks ago.
Yes, great.
We spoke about the joy that it's bringing him and his mates to go to the footy and been going for 10 years, 20 years, being able to go to the G. Obviously, you haven't been to the G, but you have messaged me post every game. And it's been quite a funny message. They're very similar, the messages, because I think you believe in keeping the same.
Like we have the tradition now, and it's like it's usually just great goal, great game, and then a variation there. I'm almost thinking of making a template. Like, it's just been that many this season that I'm just getting Siri to do a template.
And then in the loss, I think you still said great goal, great game.
I was like, mate, I mean, that's... Although Maxie's been returning the favour with good encouragement for my little boy who's playing Oz kick at the moment, because as you guys would know, like when you like with Oz kickers, of course, it's exciting to have your team win, but you as a parent, you're constantly trying to reinforce, like, how do you enjoy the excitement of watching a big win, like, just cheering on the Swans game or whatever, like cheering on like some of the great games of the season, but at the same time trying to reinforce the fact it's just about effort and it's just about having a great time. And so I'm stuck in this, like, I get tangled up in really philosophical conversations with my little boy who's 7, like when we're watching like the goals, just all the goals from the night before, but at the same time, I said to Maxie, I was like, we watched the goals before Oz kick this morning, but at the same time, we talked about the Adelaide game and we talked about how, that was heartbreaking, but the very first thing that all the Demons did was they shook everyone's hand and they said, good game. Maxie just writes back, geez, he's going to be the most level-headed junior footballer of all time. But so it's been an amazing season for sharing that. I'm sure I speak for a lot of D's fans who've a lot of parents and kids who are just bonding over these great victories. But then you're also trying to remember it, because it's hard to not just get carried away with the sheer exuberance of winning.
Yes.
But then you're trying to tie in a lot of the other philosophies of just competitiveness and effort.
Is it easier to have Sonny support a team that's winning? Like I know a lot of kids struggle to support the team their dad goes for if they're not winning. So I'm pretty sure it's a little bit easher to watch the footy with Sonny at the moment.
No, I reckon Sonny did a great job of just being a loyal D's man from the get-go. Just loved being part of the club, because we lived in Richmond till we moved to Sydney. Like we were basically next to the G. There's a street there called Rowena Parade. Little milk bar in Rowena Parade. That's the milk bar that has the Dusty mural on the side of it. So we lived there through the Richmond premierships. We're seeing Dusty every morning. Con, who owns the milk bar, every single day we go in, he's trying to convert Sonny to be a Richmond fan. And so Sonny withheld that barrage of essentially propaganda. And so his spirit remains strong.
Oh, I mean, we could go on all day.
Are we doing the top 10?
Yeah, that's what I was sort of segueing to. I was wondering if, and I think Max might have worded you up about you got a top 10 comedy list of all time. I'm interested in what you've got. We had very different ones in a lot of ways as well, so I'm interested where you're coming from.
Yeah, right. I mean, all right. So here, I loved this exercise today. Sat down over lunch and was like, all right, let's really refine the top 10.
That's what I like to hear.
I've got a few in there on the basis of groundbreaking, because I think for me, I'm a big fan of, you have to award that for comedy. You have to go, if you broke new ground, you will always be, you deserve to be number one, right? Like a lot of people, you look at current day, let's look at a TV show, for example, with comedy. Current day, is The Simpsons still the funniest thing on TV? Probably not. But does it deserve to be one of the greatest shows of all time? Yes. Because you look at what it has done for society and the ground that it broke, it kind of just gets that glory forever.
All right,
same thing.
Smelling like Monty Python. This is smelling like Monty Python.
Smells a lot like Monty Python. We should add a bit of Python in there as well. So
all right, I've got two Pythons.
So do I. I actually had two Python in there as well.
Maybe we've got the same list here, Gus. All right, I've got to do in no particular order, because that would take me another hour to rank.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
So no particular order. Team America.
Yes.
Oh.
The other aspect I ran this through, and because all lists are obviously subjective, but one of the key metrics I was using was A, rewatchability.
Yep.
B, if you stumble across it being on, will you just watch it all the way to the end, even though you were doing something else?
Yep.
If you walk past it, you're putting some washing on the clothes horse and it's on, will you just sit down and watch the whole thing, even though you should be doing something else? Team America obviously fits that bill. But quotability too, the need to just be telling people quotes after the film. All right, Team America, Anchorman's got to be in there for quotability and groundbreakingness. The Pythons, Holy Grail and Life of Brian.
Tick, tick, bang, bang. That's they were tied for third in mine. I couldn't split them.
Absolutely groundbreaking. And just brilliant writing. Wayne's World.
Yes.
Groundbreaking.
Which one?
Wayne's World 1.
Wayne's World 1.
And then whilst I was in a Mike Myers mood, I was like, you got to put Austin Powers in there. I think you actually have to put Austin Powers. When that came out, that changed the game. I was
Man of Mystery.
Yeah, number one.
Yeah.
Spy Who Shagged Me. When Spy Who Shagged Me. Oh no, sorry. Man of Mystery.
Then Spy Who Shagged Me. Then it went derailed with Goldmember.
Yeah, derailed. And look, Spy Who Shagged Me probably was a bit derailed. But by that stage, they were just good on him, milking it.
Yeah.
But I'm like, when that came out, I was in year 11, I think, year 10 or 11, and it was just this is unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's pretty close to a flawless movie. The Castle has to be in there. Again, for quotability. We probably spent a full year of our lives just doing Castle quotes when we were again, around about that same era. Best in Show, because you have to have at least one Christopher Guest film in there.
Yeah, we missed that. We missed that one memo that you just said about having one in there. We both missed that one.
Yeah, you've got to have a Christopher Guest film in there. Again, like probably a lot of people would pick Spinal Tap, but I reckon Best in Show was, again, for me, just going, what a like one of those ones where in hindsight you go, of course, dog shows. What a great world to parody. But coulda, shoulda, woulda. Got in there, did it flawlessly. I think you got to have Borat. You have to have Borat on the list.
Yeah, we had both of them.
Game changer. They've changed the game, invented a genre.
Did Borat change the game, or did LEG change the game?
I think the Borat movie changed the game.
Okay.
I think LEG began to change the game, but I think the idea, like the fake doco, building a narrative into a fake doco, changed the game. So you look at like a regular mockumentary, terrific, but then the idea of going, I'm going to create a fake character who clearly has like an arc that he has to achieve, but can achieve it in a completely random way depending on what people do, and like writing scenes to get you there and not knowing what's going to happen in those scenes. Unbelievable. Groundbreaking. And then Dumb and Dumber, just
okay, missed that one.
Is that your only Jim Carrey one?
Yeah, I was. It was that or Ace Ventura, which again was groundbreaking. But I think for comedy, I think Dumb and Dumber probably just edges it out.
Yeah.
In terms of there being like a bit of magic dust to that movie, like very hard to make a funny movie. And to just have something that again, like scene to scene to scene, just seems flawless. Dumb and Dumber's pretty good.
Is that all 10 done?
That's all 10 done. Can I hear yours? What did I miss?
I'll quickly run through what I said. So mine probably shows our age. I think we're only I think we're 10 years different. Are we?
Yeah, I think we are. I'm 39. All right. So what have you got? Dragon Ball Z, Pokemon.
So I've got. Where's my number 2? Old School.
Yeah, I love Old School.
And then
that deserves to be in there.
Kicking and Screaming was my favourite Will Ferrell movie. Road Trip, Johnny English, Superbad, Step Brothers, basically American Pie 2, and then In-Betweeners, Hangover, 21 Jump Street.
Hangover.
And I had Hangover, Wedding Crashers, Life of Brian, Holy Grail, Caddyshack. Have you seen Caddyshack, everybody? Borat, Superbad, Step Brothers, Dodgeball, and Old School. And looking back, I missed a lot.
I reckon Hangover probably would make a case for me to bump Dumb and Dumber because, again, genre changing. And you start to feel bad, like, to go, oh, how can you have a list of the greatest movies and not have a Zach Galifianakis in there? Yeah. So, but even, I mean, there's a lot of heavy hitters that don't appear on those lists, like, Steve Martin.
Adam Sandler's not on any of our lists.
And I think he'll be pissed when he hears this. I think that's going to hurt. I do think that's going to hurt.
Someone send it to him.
I reckon this is not good. Sorry, I think, legitimately, the worst case scenario for us would be John Cleese and Adam Sandler are on a road trip somewhere as they're listening to this. And John Cleese hears early that he's got 2 in there. And Adam would be going, well, then I've got to have 1. And then it just gets to the end of all our lists and it just doesn't appear. Awkward trip.
Adam Sandler could have, actually, I don't want to, it gets even worse for that trip, but his last 10 movies could be in a different category.
Turn off now, ads.
Off now. Stop listening.
So you'll be at the SCG Queen's birthday?
Can't wait. We've got a huge crew coming. Really pumped. And I don't want to call this too early, but I think Sonny, I think my little boy, I think he's on the short list for the Auskick run out at halftime.
Oh, wow.
Wow. You've crowed early. That's an early crow. He'd want to be there.
Look, he's not. If he's in the car with Adam and John, this will be huge. But I haven't told him yet. I'm waiting for yes, I'm not obviously going to go, hey mate, great news, and then go, sorry, it didn't work out. But I think he's. I think it's looking good.
Well, if Sydney will let us Melburnians high five Sydney siders, I'll definitely high five him at halftime.
Thank you, mate.
Let's look at Positive Lingers Keep Cup to bring back as well, and we'll also.
That's it. Hey, who's the kid just sitting in the goal square drinking a hot chocolate from the Positive Lingers Keep Cup? It's got all the merch and no touches. Sounds like my kid.
Thanks for joining us. You could be our very first third guest potentially down the track.
Huge guys, real. I believe it. I still just joining Jonesy within the two gamer club.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's just Jonesy.
Awesome. What an honor. Thanks, boys. Love the show. Keep it up. See you guys out there Monday.
Thanks, Ham.